big.
Okay, so we had a few discussion-y things we wanted to talk about. Well, who wants to go first? I'm going to have to drop out at about 22. I need to go and pick up some Campo. But obviously, I'll edit that piece of information out as well.
We can. Yeah, we don't have to record everything in one night.
Yeah, sure. We can call it out whatever and just do another thing at the time if we want to.
22. I need to go pick up some from myself.
22, 2010.
All right, so your one, and then my one, and then if we've got time, we can do the Champions League draft as well. Right, okay. So you wanted, Andrew, we're going to be doing episodes where we just bring something to the table in football. And Andrew, on our wee group chat, so you can find it, fired up, gave us this list of, here it is. So it's on the screen. And for those that are, so this is the UEFA club ranking top 10. Where did this come from, Andrew? Where was this?
It's just from UEFA, mate. This is what UEFA have announced as the current top in Europe, and I struggle to see where these names come from. Obviously, the Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool. I don't think there's anybody going to argue that those are currently the top 4 teams in Europe. If you look at teams that have won it recently and won it most and stuff like this, and been most consistent in Europe, I think those 4 belong there. Everyone below that, I think, would be subject to argument from certain people. Paris Saint-Germain haven't won a European trophy since 90s, something like that. So how are they the 5th largest side in the country? How are Chelsea still there? Chelsea, fair enough, Chelsea have a Champions League in the last few years, and they've got a league in the last few years. But Spurs have got a better recent record than them. East Ham won a trophy last year. And Manchester United haven't won. Like the Champions League was not this millennium, is that right? It was like 1999.
Yeah, 99.
Right. How are they? PSG are obviously a very rich side. Is it just money? Is that all you need to be ranked in UEFA anymore?
It's a real curious one is Manchester United, because they really have been garbage for the last few years, haven't they? So you really think, where is this coming from?
Listen, if you throw out some teams, just for instance, that have done slightly better in Europe over the last few years, that are in that top 10, you're looking at teams like Barcelona. You see Milan. You're looking like at Juventus, who've won the Italian league 3 years out of the last 5, sort of thing. Borussia Dortmund.
Thinking like historical as well, AC Milan have won the Champions League. Is it 7 times, 9 times? I can't remember what it was. So
something like that. I mean, they're only just behind Real Madrid in number of wins, with Liverpool sort of third. And that's been since Manchester United won it. They won in 2007, like that. So they've won it far more recently, but they're not one of the top sides in Europe. But Manchester United are. How?
The real the one that's really standing out to me is RB Leipzig. What's that about? They haven't been around for that long. So
above Barcelona.
Who's not in that list? Well, as who's because I think if you were to ask anybody to list the top 10 UEFA clubs, clubs that are eligible to play in UEFA, that wouldn't be. I don't think that would be anyone's top 10. So I don't know who wrote this list or
the top 3. If you looked at it back over the last 20, 30 years or something like that, the top 3 would generally, and I think most football fans would agree, would be Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid. And I think these are, in terms of supporters, in terms of grounds, success, or something like that, these are the biggest sides in Europe. Liverpool probably, come close behind them, and Manchester City recently they won it last year, so you've got to say that they deserve their place there based on being cheating shitty bastards.
Just go back to RB Leipzig. So I've probably told you this before once at a discussion at the pub, but the letters RB, what does that stand for?
It's Red Bull, isn't it?
It's not Red Bull. So it's Racing Ball Sport, because you're not in Germany. You're not allowed to have a sort of a company name, a part of your name. So Red Bull changed it to Racing Ball Sport, I believe. So yeah, there's a little fact for you. But RB Salzburg is Red Bull Salzburg.
Right.
because that's in Austria, so they're allowed to do that.
You got New York as well, aren't you? New York Red Bulls as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's just interesting, and then look at Germany. Maybe do this for another podcast. Well, look at Germany, how they do football there. It really is like a sort of supporter's dream. Like that's what you really want. The ownership and how it's, there's always tickets available for €20, and you can
I just found out there has to be tickets available for €20. So if the next, if the €20 one sells out, the next most expensive one becomes €20.
Yeah.
And the clubs are owned by or part owned by fans. Group.
The 50% plus one rule. Yeah. So there has to be one more member from a community owned organisation. I know that there's now rules around that and how you can through an admin you can change the statistics slightly, but by and large, that 50+1 rule is amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
They've got serious rules about foreign ownership and stuff like this as well. I think in England they do the right and proper thing, but it finds, I'm not going to disparage him too badly because he's no longer there. But Roman Abramovich was a former Russian mob boss. You've got the Saudi Arabian royal family, and it's like how are these people deemed right and proper? Manchester City are being found to be the biggest cheats in world football ever. They make movies about this in 10 years about the rise and fall of Manchester City.
The Netflix drama. The Netflix
drama, playing in front of 300 people, in a park in Bristol or something like that, because they've lost their position, and this is the team that was formerly Manchester City, and they'll say, we used to be champions of Europe, and people will go, all right, granddad. That's my dream anyway. That's my dream. Not bad.
That's your long-term prediction.
It's my long-term prediction. Their team will be taken by somewhere else, and you get proper teams with proper history that'll come back up.
Yeah.
I just don't see where things come from. But then, like I say, I don't see. We talked personally about last month about Manchester United being team of the month, and Harry Maguire being the Premier League Player of the Month for November.
Outrageous.
What? Just like he just was. I think I just think it's the barrier for Harry Maguire to look good. It doesn't require for him to be brilliant. It just requires him to be less shit. I mean,
maybe that's his plan all along, just to be shit for a little bit, and then when he's actually just normal, everyone's like, "Wow, yeah, Harry Kane. Wow, sorry, Harry Maguire. Wow, what a guy! It's Player of the Month. Give him that trophy."
He's come on.
Very cunning.
Can I go back to the German leagues just for 1 second though? And I'll put my hand up and say we talked briefly there again. And I've always been a bit disparaging about Harry Kane, obviously never winning anything and stuff like this. But he is ripping that league apart. Like, it just goes to show you how good he actually is. That you take him out of the Premier League when he was a good player and put him into this league where they've not got the money, so they've not got the players and things like this, and they're still wildly successful. He is breaking every single record in that league at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he carried Spurs for a few years, didn't he? And then he was easily the best player in Spurs. He was a talisman and everything. Then, he's just hit the ground running in the German league, and it's just because I think it also is kind of like the missing piece for Bayern. They'll really replace Lewandowski. I'm not sure. So maybe that's Kane's replacement.
I think he'll go down as their legacies, isn't it? There will be he will be. I think if he stays for another couple of seasons, he'll be. I don't know how long his contract's for, but he'll be a legend at Bayern.
Yeah.
If he plays the way he has done for the next couple of seasons, it'll just be that.
If you look at how goals he's already scored this season, if he was at Manchester City, they would already be planning a statue of him, because that's the barrier to getting a statue of you outside the Etihad isn't that high.
Yeah.
So
I think David Silva, they've got Vincent Kompany.
You only have to win. They're looking at some guys for the 1980s now. I've got like 2 trophies between them.
Aguero as well, right?
Aguero, I can see Aguero. I like it. Everybody liked Aguero. Everybody was happy when Aguero scored that goal to win that league, the first one.
Yeah.
Just because it stopped Manchester United from winning.
He's still like a Man City mascot as Aguero. I remember we were watching the Champions League last year, and we as we were playing and just letting the pundits chat for like what seemed like hours and hours. Aguero was walking back and forth, wandering around, and they brought him in for an interview because he was there, and he was just like, it was great. He's such a, he just seems to be around, like even though he's just still there. It's great.
It's either that or live in Argentina. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to do that. So I know. Yeah, he was a great player. I know. I've spoken again. I've said this to you before, but I've not said it online. But genetically, like his son, he's married to Diego Maradona's daughter. So his son, like Sergio Aguero's son, is Diego Maradona's grandson, and the lad's godfather is Lionel Messi. So no pressure on that laddie.
He's an accountant for like.
He has to. There's no point in him ever football because it's like imagine first day at school who you picking. Aguero. What if he's shite?
Awesome. That was cool. That was good to see that list, and
we'll
we'll come back to it and see if it's the same at the end of the year. I don't know if you re-rank it. But it was just an interesting list.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I